Definitely jump in the chat if you have something that I'm talking about that you really want to comment about. And no, I'm not giving you the middle finger, but my nail polish is still in a shambles. Anyways, I hope you're having a really good day. I wanted to come on here and talk about a few different things with policy, presidential parades, and politics, and just some of the goals that I have for this week because I have finally decided that I'm gonna put a lot of more attention into YouTube and also into Substack. So in the description of my live stream, if you haven't already noticed, I have put a link to my Substack. So I would really appreciate it. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube, definitely subscribe to the YouTube and also head on over to Substack and you can subscribe there for free. But let's get into some of the things that I thought were really, really interesting. In the last couple of days. I'm gonna start with a fun one, but it's also a little sus, okay? So this is something that just happened or just was announced. Everyone's saying the same thing after scientists resurrect the dire wolf. I don't know if you have ever heard about this, but this actually was an article that was posted April 7th, yesterday evening. This is the dire wolf. I don't know about you, but there's something about bringing back animals that have been kind of extinct for some time and hoping that nothing bad happens. I'm just saying that if we look at this and go, wow, what an amazing thing that scientists are doing, and then we think about it in the long term, what are the ramifications? What are the consequences that could happen with the natural habitat that no longer probably exists the same for this particular animal, or the dangers that it could pose to just society in general? I want your comments in just let me know if you are excited about the dire wolf coming back from extinction because it's a modern miracle of science, or if this is kind of like we should let the dead lie, because I don't know, it kind of is giving a little Jurassic Park. Like, shouldn't we have learned our lesson here? I'm not sure. You let me know in the comments what you think about this one. I thought it was very interesting. This is the next one. And I've talked about this a few times, but Donald Trump is doing something that presidents do not do. He is planning on honoring himself with a $92 million parade. And I think that this is, like, obviously some of the other things that he has done very bad. Okay, I don't know about you, but anyone who wants to spend 92 million taxpayer dollars, hey Sean, is definitely something that I'm gonna say, I think we found the waste, fraud, and abuse right here. This is not something that we need to do. He can certainly have his own big celebration on two separate days. One, President's Day, because we have a federal holiday for that. And two, on his birthday at Mar-a-Lago or wherever he so chooses, but not on the taxpayer's dollar. Okay, he's already using that to go golfing damn near every weekend. Sean, I don't live in Paris. I have somebody in my comments asking me about Paris. I don't live in Paris. I actually lived in Lyon. And so I'm so sorry to disappoint, but I don't live in Paris or I have been to Paris a few times, but I do not. I don't live in Paris. I'm so sorry. But I wish we had a lot of good times at the Olympics in Paris. But this is a parade that I think $92 million of taxpayer money is it's enormous. It's a waste, and it's definitely abusing the power that he has. Okay, so think about if you were given $92 million of someone else's money. Okay, someone else's hard-earned money, and we're like, yeah, I'm just gonna throw it around. Thank you so much for the hearts. I appreciate it. All right, so leave a comment. Tell me what you think you would do with $92 million because this is not the biz. All right, this is another issue. I told you we were gonna talk about policy today. This is a headline from Fortune magazine. It says, millions of Social Security recipients got erroneous messages that their payments stopped. Computer systems are keeping on glitching. So this is an issue for a lot of people to start thinking about, because we had Doge coming in to certain systems. We really don't know how much access they got. And I'm so curious to know if what access they did get to Social Security systems or any of the Treasury payment systems, if that's what's creating this glitch. I'm not sure, but it definitely feels like which I've seen some reports on this, that the Social Security system, as far as like the website, the website has gone down several times in the last month. And this is crazy to even think about. So tell me in the comments if you have gotten this erroneous message from Social Security about a potential for your payments stopping, because that would be a really bad look for an agency that I'm pretty sure needs to start getting it together. All right, so this is one that is a question that Donald Trump was asked during a sort of reporter back and forth. And he actually, I think I have the quote here. Here it goes. A reporter asked Trump Sunday whether he was considering an offer from El Salvador president, quote, to take American citizens in the federal prison population. And Trump said, well, I love that. So not only have people been trying to tell everyone that it is not a good look to think about the undocumented immigrants being sent to El Salvador prisons, but now to think about the fact that that will always trickle down to citizens potentially being sent, like he said, well, I love that, sent to El Salvadorian prisons. So think about that just for a hot sec, that what a lot of people have been saying for the longest time is that it's not just about the undocumented. It is about an abuse of power, and that power being that we would potentially no longer house prisoners who are convicted in the United States who are citizens, that we would just be outsourcing that to other prisons in other countries. Basically, a modern day slave trade. Okay, so if you're thinking about policy, this is a bad one, because how are you going to go see your loved one if they happen to do something wrong and are convicted? You won't. Because you're not going to see them in an El Salvadorian prison. It's just not going to happen. All right, so let's go on. There were a few other things. I know we talked about I screenshotted a few of these. This is one that I wanted to talk to you guys about because it was kind of like a little bit of a preposterous scenario. Okay, so let me back up so you can see this whole thing. It says Netanyahu's plane adds 250 miles onto a journey to Washington to avoid ICC arrest warrant. Okay, if you have any idea what that means he went out of his way to circumvent the areas, the sort of countries who would arrest him, okay? Who would basically commandeer his flight and take him down because he was coming to the United States. Now, there were protests yesterday because of his coming to the United States, and they were protesting Netanyahu, they were protesting Donald Trump, and they were in New York, and they were out in the streets, okay? But think about the fact that he has that many warrants, that he has to go out of his way on his flight to avoid countries who would bring him in for justice. I just can't even imagine. But that's how much he has to skirt the law to come to the United States, where we basically won't do anything to him. It's really, really sad. So leave a comment about your thoughts about that. I just think it's kind of sad in addition to this. So this is the sort of visualization of the stocks through yesterday. Right? Did you check your 401k? Because I don't know, you guys. This is not, it says, let me get out of the way here. It says, S&P 500 plummets 4%, entering bear market territory. Now, I am not a stock market person, but I know the difference between the bear market and the bull market. And we don't want to go into that bear market territory, okay? So, if you have any sort of comment about the stock market, how the big businesses probably will weather the storm, but the small businesses probably will go out of business, like probably by the end of the next month or so. That's where we're at, is that small businesses cannot weather the storm. Big businesses might be in trouble too. There have been a lot of big corporations that have gone out of business just because of like COVID, and just because of remote work and all of that stuff. So it's very interesting to see how this is going to play out. Apparently, yesterday there was some sort of fake news that went on to X or something like that, where they said that there might be some sort of different sort of tariff negotiations happening, and the market swung up, and then people found out that that was fake news, and then the market went back down. So it's a volatile situation here. I ultimately think that this is one of the times, actually, this is the second time with the sort of amount of tariffs that Trump has put on, that this is basically a con. I think it's a con to get wealthy investors to scoop up all of those stocks at really, really bargain basement prices. It's a transfer of wealth. And I can't tell you, I should have taken a video yesterday about when I was driving down the street over here east of Hollywood, how many for rent signs there are up. It was block after block after block of for rent, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, studio apartments right over here in Los Angeles. And my mind was blown. You can't find an apartment over here because there are so many people looking for apartments in this area. But yesterday, it was like one after the next, after the next, after the next. I don't know if people just moved out or if this was something that had been planned. Like, people have seen some economic downturn since Donald Trump has been in office anyways, because all of the federal workforce, the layoffs that have been happening. But I've never seen it like this, except during COVID. Okay, I saw that because there were a lot of people who moved out of their really high rent apartments, and they moved in with other people, and they were hunkering down during COVID, and they did like a shared communal space kind of a thing for a lot of people. I think it's a sign that more of the housing market is going to be affected by all of these sort of tariff things as well, not just people in the stock market. I think people are feeling it in their wallets. I actually saw somebody, and this is something that I'm not sure if you have heard about, and it might just be a rumor, but I heard on a TikTok, people were warning about this next protest on April 20th. And on 4/20 is supposed to be this sort of deadline for whether or not Donald Trump is going to be able to invoke this Insurrection Act, and whether or not, if people are out there on April 20th doing their protesting, whether or not he's going to say that this deserves martial law. So be careful out there. I'm not sure how accurate this rumor is, but obviously I want y'all to be safe. So these are just some of the things that I am following. It's Tuesday, it's April 8th, and I hope that you're having a fabulous Tuesday. But just be safe out there. Be smart. Be aware of your surroundings as things are going on, because not only are stocks volatile, right? But we are also just in a kind of period of uncertainty. Like, what's going to happen next? I feel like this is the unease that a lot of people are dealing with right now. I'm just laughing through the pain at this point. I'm just like, well, might as well just do whatever. So I am doing this. My goals, I always talk about my goals, and I hope that you can list some of your goals too down below. I am really gearing up all of my stuff here to be more focused on YouTube, also on Substack. So later today, I'm going to try to be writing an article to get my Substack going again. I only really published one article before, but I really enjoyed being on that platform. They also apparently have Substack Live. If you've never gone live on Substack, I'm going to try to do that and try to tinker around and see what they do over on Substack. Obviously, check out my TikTok. It's at College of Style as well. And I hope to see you guys in the comments because I love interacting with you on the comment section or in the comment section. Every single time you post something, I try to get back to you guys. So have a really good day, and I will see you guys on the next one.